Cuéntame, cuéntame, we want to hear more. Relatos que nos unen para un mundo mejor. Oh, we want to hear more. Relatos que nos unen para un mundo mejor. Oh.
Welcome to Cuéntame con Alo y Cel, where we explore inspiring stories and insightful conversations. I'm Celeste, and today I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing a remarkable figure in Texas politics, Mayra Flores. As the first Mexican-born woman to serve in the United States House of Representatives, Mayra has made significant strides in advocating for her community and championing conservative values. Her journey to a trailblazing congresswoman is truly inspiring. Today, we'll delve into her experiences, her vision for the future, and her unwavering commitment to making a difference. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I did a little research on you, and it was everything that I learned was very inspiring. So your switch from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party due to your strong conservative values is quite notable. What inspired this change?
Well, I was born in Burgos, Tamaulipas, Mexico, and I was raised with strong conservative values. And for me, my values are what's most important, not a political party. And when I realized that my values align more with the Republican Party, that's when I decided to walk away from the Democrat Party, because I just realized that they were not a representation of my values, and voting for them was against who I stood for, and it was also against the best interest of not just my family, but of our community. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was, an easy decision, easy switch. And that's when I decided to walk away. And it was back in 2010 when I walked away from the Democrat Party. Yeah, my dad didn't know that he raised me Republican.
Yes.
My dad was a Republican. He just didn't know it. I mean, now he's a Republican, but it took him a long time to realize that. But we're all very conservative. Yes. Again, our values align with the Republican Party, and I think President Reagan said it very well back in 1986 or so. He said, Hispanics are Republican, they just don't know it. Yes. And it's a beautiful thing to see so many Hispanics waking up.
Yes, that is. I know that you've outlined priorities in your reelection for 2024, focusing on border security and economic development. What are your top priorities in this area?
Well, bringing good paying jobs to South Texas, because our children have to leave South Texas for better opportunities. And if you want to leave South Texas, great. But I don't want no one to feel forced to leave South Texas, because there is no opportunities for them.
Lack of opportunities.
Yes, and I want the American dream to be available in South Texas. And so many do accomplish the American dream, but so many are not able to and are forced to leave South Texas for those opportunities. So I want to be able to bring those good paying jobs to South Texas. And look, I heard so many people growing up that said that the Democrat Party was the party of the poor and that the Republican Party was the party of the rich. And I'm here to tell you that the Democrat Party is the party of poverty. Big difference.
Yes.
They want us poor. They don't want to see us prosper. And we want prosperity. I want to see the Hispanic community thrive. We're amazing people.
Yes.
I mean, we have everything. We're people of faith, people of family, people of hard work. Yes. We have all the ingredients to be successful. And the only way is by us prioritizing our needs. And unfortunately, we've just been treated like second class, and we're not second class. We're first class. We need to be prioritized. We're Americans too. Yes. And they don't look at us.
They want to give you just enough. They want to give you just enough
to feed you, to get by, but they don't want to ever give you enough to build a small business.
Yes.
They don't want to give you that. Why? Because they know that after that, they will no longer be able to manipulate you, and you're not going to need them anymore. And I don't want our people to need the government.
Yes.
That's what I don't want. I want to be able to free the Hispanic community from the government. I want us to have economic freedom and not to depend on the government anymore.
That's good. It's well said. So economic challenges are significant for your constituents in South Texas, and you aim to bring jobs, high-paying jobs to the region. How do you plan to address these challenges, and what successes have you had so far?
Well, like I mentioned earlier in the earlier podcast, I was talking about prioritizing the American people. So what we're seeing right now under this administration is that they're constantly overspending our hard-earned money. We don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem.
Yes.
They're sending billions and billions of dollars abroad, money that we don't have. And what that is doing is causing interest rates to go up, inflation to go up, the cost of living to go up. So we need to keep our hard-earned money here in America.
Yes.
We cannot be able to take care of others when we're not prioritizing the American people, when we're not prioritizing the people that elect us to be in these positions.
I see it almost like your children, like your child is starving at home, but yet you're out feeding other children.
Exactly. I'm sure that you pay your bills first, not your neighbor's bills first. So it's important that our government does the same. If we're able to help others, absolutely. But right now, we're $35 trillion in debt. So in order for us to get out of debt, we would have to pay $100,000. Every person in America to get out of debt would have to pay over $100,000 to get out of debt. That is not the country we inherited. It's not fair that we inherit that country to our children.
Yes.
And our children deserve better. So in order for us to bring down, the debt ceiling, we have to stop overspending. We have to stop sending billions and billions of dollars abroad that we don't have. We have to prioritize the needs of the American people. To me, it's just common sense,
Yes.
Prioritize the people that elect you to be in that position.
Yes.
Every government has their own government, their own elected officials, and they have an obligation to look after them. And so the elected officials in this country have an obligation to look after the people in this country.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Yes, that is very simple.
It should be common sense.
Yes.
I don't understand why you have elected officials looking after other countries and not the United States of America. Like, you are a representative here in America, not in Latin America. You are a representative here in the United States. You have an obligation to look after us, and they are here to work for us.
Yes.
And I think that they forget that. So we need to remind them in November.
Let's remind them.
Yes.
So let's talk about healthcare. Your efforts to lower healthcare costs, including reducing prescription drug prices, is commendable. Can you briefly share any specific plans that you have to continue to do that?
Well, again, it's very unfortunate that many Americans, I would say millions of Americans, travel to Mexico to get medication, to get health care.
Yes.
So it's important that we hold accountable, the pharmaceutical world as well, because you see them selling the cost of their medicine, in other countries for a lot less, but they come here and they sell it here 20 times more expensive. So we need to hold them accountable as well. And also what we're seeing in children is that we're seeing 50% of our children have some type of chronic disease.
Yeah.
So we have to improve the food industry as well.
Yes.
And what we eat, because clearly it's making us sick.
There are products that are banned in Europe. I mean, have you seen the comparison of cereals?
Yes, we
cereals
were actually
in
talking
Europe.
about it last night.
Yeah, cereals in Europe and the ingredients of cereals here, juices in Europe, it's same brand,
Absolutely.
but they're cleaner, more natural. Ours are full of chemicals, so
And I
we
wanna-
do need
I want
a
to
change in
change
that.
that, and it starts by talking about it, bringing awareness, putting in place legislation that also bans these ingredients in our food.
Yes.
And making our children, healthier, making the American people more healthy as well. And again, it's all about the spending. We have to control our spending to bring the cost down of healthcare as well. Everything is connected.
Yes, it is. Border security is a key issue for you, and I know that you advocate for stronger measures. What changes do you believe are necessary to enhance the security of this country?
Well, look, I immigrated to this country. I support immigration, but legal immigration. Unfortunately, the cartel's in full control of the southern border. They're making billions and billions of dollars off of illegal immigration. So this is hurting the people of Mexico as well, because the people of Mexico live in fear every single day because the cartel is very powerful. So if we care about the immigrants, we would secure the border, because we don't want them to go through this dangerous journey where women and children are abused and raped. That is just, unfortunately, the reality. We need to incentivize legal immigration, improve the legal process so the good people come here to the United States legal, and allow our Border Patrol agents to enforce the laws, to focus on the criminals that come into our country. They focus also on the drugs. Fentanyl, it's a poison. It's killing our children. It's killing 300 people a day. 300 people a day. If an airline would fall to the ground every day, we would stop our airlines. Like, hey, what's going on?
That's a good way of putting it.
Right.
If one plane went down every single day, there would be an uproar. Why is there not a bigger uproar about the fentanyl crisis?
It's a poison. It's killing our children. And I encourage you to talk to your children, because we're not the exception. It could happen to any of us. So it's important that we bring awareness about this poison. And look, also our Border Patrols need to focus on terrorists as well. Yes. And this is just a reality. I wish that, only good people were coming into our country legally. That's not the case. This is planet Earth. Evil exists, and evil will take advantage of every situation. And what's happening is that you're seeing evil taking advantage that we have practically an open border.
Yes.
And this administration has spent $450 billion in housing and caring of those who have come here illegally. And that's wrong, because you see veterans sleeping in the streets, and that is an injustice when you see people who've served our country homeless, sleeping in the streets, and that they're not being taken care of. But yet all these people that are coming in, they're prioritizing them and not the American people and not the veterans. It's just injustice.
It is.
And it's important that we prioritize the American people.
I agree. Speaking of veterans, you've shown a strong commitment to supporting veterans. As a veteran myself, this topic is near and dear to my heart. I'm a disabled veteran. So you voted for the PACT Act. I understand that expanded VA health care and benefits to veterans that were exposed to toxic chemicals. I also know that you supported the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, for military funding and welfare. And I also know that you advocated for improved healthcare services and mental health support for veterans. And you also supported policies enhancing veterans' benefits and services. So could you elaborate on your current and future plans to support veterans that address our unique circumstances and challenges?
Look, I'm forever grateful to the men and women that have served in this country. I would not be in the position that I am in if it wasn't because of them. I have the freedoms because of them. That's the least that I can do, is always advocate for our veterans. And for me, it's not even political. I put politics aside. When it comes to our veterans, I think that we need to set up an example and come together, Republicans and Democrats, because these men and women are there to serve all Americans, right? You were there to serve, you yourself served for everyone, not for Republicans, not for Democrats. You were there fighting for our freedoms, all of us. So it's so important that we always, prioritize the needs of the veterans. I will continue to support the NDA, because that's, that comes every Congress. So it's important that we continue supporting the NDA, because our men and women deserve for us to prioritize their needs. And again, what I'm seeing right now is an increase in homelessness in our veterans, and we need to make sure that they're taken care of, because they took care of us.
I see a rise in the financial difficulties that veterans are having under this administration, and I did see a huge shift in our health care under the previous administration, under Trump. I had access to outside care, and I saw a higher quality of care, and time limits that you didn't have to wait 3 months to see a doctor anymore. Things were getting a lot better for us under the Trump administration. Absolutely. And I just pray and continue to request of our representatives, and even ours in our district, to continue fighting for us, to continue supporting those who supported you and who defended this country.
Absolutely. Again, It's common sense.
Yes.
It's the least that we can do is prioritize the needs of our men and women. And President Trump did that. You know, he has always prioritized our men and women in the military. He has always prioritized the American people. And that's the way it should be. Our elected officials should prioritize, you know, the United States of America and not others. And it feels like this administration right now has prioritized everyone else but us and the men and women who've served in this country.
Yes.
It's a shame.
Yes, it is. You've been a strong advocate for the Hispanic community. And how important is it for the Hispanic community to register to vote, and what efforts are you making to encourage this?
I'm traveling all over Texas to encourage Hispanics to register to vote, to go out to vote. Look, we're the majority in Texas, and it's important that Washington, it's important that Austin hears our concerns. And we're Americans, and it's important that we're a part of this election. It's important that we are a part of this change. If we're not happy with the economy, if you're not happy with what's going on in this country,
Then do something about it.
you need to do something about it, and you need to get out and vote. You need to be a part of this change. This is our country.
Yes.
If this country, you know, falls, we all fall.
Exactly.
So it's important that we are all involved and play a role, because our children and our country is worth fighting for.
Yes. Speaking of children, if you could say anything to our youth, especially young girls like my daughters who are watching and are motivated to make this world a better place, what would you say to them right now?
To spend more time with their loved ones. You know, we're here today. I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. So I believe that family is what's most important. Spend time with your grandparents. Believe it or not, they were young at one time. Get to know them, hear their story and what they have to say. Allow them to share their wisdom and learn from their experiences. Spend time with your parents as well. I know that when we're young, we want to, you know, spend a lot more time with our friends, and that's great. But if you're able to, spend more time with your loved ones. Don't take it for granted. And that, honestly, it's what's most important for me. Stay in prayer, because at the end of the day, this world is temporary and God is eternity, and our faith is what's most important. So stay in prayer and spend a lot of time with your loved ones.
Very well said. I thank you so much for spending some time with us and answering our questions.
Absolutely.
And I also send a big thanks to Camino Prospero. Please follow Camino Prospero on Facebook for more updates and exclusive content. To our wonderful audience, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of Cuéntame con Aloisel. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we will continue to bring you more inspiring stories and insightful conversations that keep us moving towards progress. Remember to subscribe to this podcast and follow us on social media to stay updated with all our latest content. Until next time, I leave you with a piece of my heart. Keep dreaming big, keep praying big, and always remember that he who says it cannot be done should not interrupt the person doing it. Thank you and goodbye.